Sherilyn Harley Laban is with us. Sherilyn is the co-chair of Project 21 National Advisory Board. Nationalcenter.org is the website. Sherilyn, welcome back to the program. You've been on the program before, have you not?
Oh, yes, Tom. You and I have been on together, and I know this is a topic we don't agree on, so thank you for having me on this afternoon, Tom.
Okay, so and what I wanted to talk with you about is this North Carolina effort by Republicans in the state of North Carolina to make changes to their voting laws that would make it harder for people to vote.
That is your perception, Tom.
Okay, well, how does eliminating same-day voter registration make it easier for people to vote?
Well, Tom, the main thing here is enacting a law so that we can safeguard the integrity of elections and requiring ID, which, mind you, overwhelmingly a majority of North Carolinians do support this and are in favor of having voter ID. Okay? This is a decision that was made by the state legislature. People vote in their state senators and state legislators, and this is what a majority of North Carolina citizens wanted and support. So you have Big Brother Attorney General Holder coming in to sue North Carolina, which, mind you, he has done in Texas, which he's done in South Carolina, over the same sort of issues. And also, Tom, I might add, we kind of just went over this in June with the Shelby v. Attorney General Holder decision in the Supreme Court.
Right. You can have your voter ID requirement. I don't have a problem with that. That I don't see that as the issue. I see that as part of the issue, but eliminating same-day voter registration, cutting early voting by a full week, raising the amount of money to $5,000 that people can give to buy politicians, making it easier for voter suppression groups to stand in line and literally challenge people based on how they look, which typically is voting while black, because the True to the Vote group, which is doing this, is overwhelmingly white, and they're all about stopping the black vote, and you know that.
No, I don't know that, Tom. And, my daddy is from the Deep South, so I grew up with this. I grew up with the Klan, my daddy running from the Klan. And I'm sorry, Tom, I'm just not seeing this. Growing up for 40 years, hearing my dad talk about this, no, I don't see it.
Sherilyn, this is what, in 1980, the guy who was running the direct mail part of Ronald Reagan's campaign and who was an advisor to the Republicans for years and years and years until he died just a few years ago, Paul Weyrich, who was the founder or the co-founder of the American Legislative Exchange Council, which writes these laws, these voter suppression laws. This is what he said in a speech to a group of Republicans, Christian Republicans, white Christian Republicans, in a Dallas church as they were going out to stop black people from voting in Dallas, Texas in 1980. Here he is. We don't have Paul Weyrich? Okay, hang on just a second.
Now, many of our Christians have what I call the goo-goo syndrome, good government. They want everybody to vote. I don't want everybody to vote. Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down.
Our leverage goes up as the voting populace goes down. North Carolina has passed a law, in addition to the voter ID requirement, and many people in your state don't have voter ID, particularly young people, elderly people, people who are very poor. But beyond that, setting aside the voter ID, eliminating same-day voter registration, cutting early voting by a full week, making it easier for voter suppression groups to basically knock people out of line, basically,
Tom,
barring young adults from pre-registering.
I don't see this as voter suppression. I see this as states enacting laws which will enable them to have integrity in their elections.
But there is no lack of integrity, Sherilyn. How many...
But you know what, Tom? Again, another point we disagree on, because there are incidences of voter fraud, and that tends to be...
How many were there in North Carolina last year?
Less rhetoric is that There is no voter fraud. Time and time again, you have an NAACP official, convicted of 11 counts of voter fraud in Mississippi.
In North Carolina, how many cases of voter fraud have you had?
Actually, I don't know where
Okay, in other words, zero. I find it amazing, that you're citing the fact.
Fraud to make sure, or just to ensure.
Sherilyn, this guy that you're pointing out with the NAACP, he went to jail. She went to jail. Fine, she went to jail. So do you really think? I mean, I walked through Macy's yesterday. There was all kinds of cool stuff that I could have just picked up and put in my pocket, but I don't because, in part, it's just not the right thing to do, and also because I could go to jail for doing it. Do you really think that most people, or really anybody, I mean, I don't get it with this one NAACP person, but I think that's the exception that proves the rule. Who is going to say, I think I'm going to go vote and commit a felony for which I can go to prison for 3 years by voting illegally? By not, I'm not a citizen, and so I'm going to vote.
Let me.
Who's going to do that?
What is the harm in states wanting to have integrity in their elections?
How does cutting early voting by a week increase integrity?
Let me just finish. What is wrong with asking them to ask their citizens to present ID when voting? ID, which is seemingly...
I have already said, this is not a debate about voter ID. If the citizens of North Carolina want voter ID, cool. But why cut early voting by a full week? Why make it illegal for young adults to pre-register when they're 16 and 17 so that when they turn 18 they can vote? Why do these things that cut back on the number of people who can vote or the number of opportunities there are for people to be able to vote when Tuesday is the voting day, and that's a day that most working people have to go to work?
But I don't see why we need students to pre-register at 16. I mean, why can't they just do it at 18? That's when they sign up for military. That's when they're... Because if your birthday is within a few months of the November elections, and when you turn 18... you will not have had time to register to vote so that you can vote. You have to wait until the next election, till you're 20 or 22. Yeah, but Tom, 18 is a trigger point for a lot of things. I believe 18 is the age for which you can buy cigarettes. I believe 18.
That's 17.
Also, excuse me?
It's 17 in North Carolina. 17.
Okay, well, I know it varies from state to state. I also think 18 is the age in most states that you're allowed to drive without another adult.
I think that's 16.
I don't see the need. I think 18 is a good age for people to start voting.
I do too, and that's why I think that they should be able to pre-register. Okay, Sherilyn, we're out of time. You've made your points. I've made mine. We'll let the listeners sort it out. Nationalcenter.org. You can check it out. Sherilyn Harley-Laban, the co-chair of Project 21. Thank you for being with us.